to another video. I hope you're having a good day, and thank you so much for all the support and everything on the last video. It was something different for me, and I'm glad to see that people liked it and enjoyed just hearing me talk about these things, because I liked making it. So today I'm back with another like semi-similar video of me talking about some form of consumerism, convenience culture, one of those little topics I mentioned wanting to talk about in the last video. I want to talk about trinkets today. I am obviously not the first person to talk about this. There's been a lot of commentary on trinkets and trinket culture and blind boxes over the last like several months now, but I'm a trinket girly. I love a blind box. I love a little guy, so I wanted to add my spoon to the pot and give my thoughts. Oh baby, Fern's in my bedroom window is just behind the camera, and my cat is sleeping in front of it, and she looks really cute. Also, if I keep going like weirdly with this side of my mouth, I have like I bit it the other day, and now it's in like a spot where I keep accidentally biting it more. So I hope you enjoy. Before we get into like the full meat of this essay, I just wanted to pop in and say that this is another one that I didn't fully research or script. I mentioned later, but I took some notes and I did a bit of reading online, but this is all mostly based on my personal experiences as well as a few YouTube videos I've watched talking about it. I'll link those in the description. But if you're expecting like a full, well researched and written video essay about it, this is not that. This is honestly more of like another rambly podcast, but with slightly more structure and thoughts than my last one. But either way, I hope you enjoy. As I said, I am a trinket girly. I love them. I love collecting them, and I like always have. When I was younger, I collected badges. I had like a ribbon that I would keep a bunch of pins and badges on from like shops, or a lot of them were just given to me like by my dad. They were some of his old ones that he just handed down to me when I started like getting into them. When I got a bit older, I was really into Pop Funkos. I know. This was like before they were seen as like really cringe by everyone. Like it was the time when they were cool. Also, I was literally 8, so like I don't actually need to defend my actions. And I wasn't someone who would keep them in the box. I didn't know that was a thing until many years later. I would like have them. Oh my god, poor Smeeski. I would like actually have them on my shelves and display them all. I had them of like all my favorite characters from like movies and TV shows. A lot of Avengers. I think I definitely also had like Dean and Cass from Supernatural. I wasn't just 8. This collecting lasted until I was like 14, 15, I think. I definitely also had Sherlock from BBC Sherlock. I definitely had the 10th Doctor. I had some Steven Universe ones. I think I had Shiro from Voltron. This is really outing myself and all the like terrible fandoms I've been a part of. If there's like a toxic fandom on the internet, I was there. I was in it. But yeah, I loved them. And then after that, I would collect K-pop albums. Again, if there's a toxic fandom on the internet, I will be there. I still have all my albums, as well as like a lot of my Pop Funkos. Most Pop Funkos are in like a box in my parents' house, but I still have most of my K-pop albums with me. Because I like using the CDs. I have them in my car. But that's like still something I like sometimes buy. But now I just buy like the compact versions because I don't care about the inclusions as much. Like I'm not a photo card girly. I never was a big photo card collector. I really mostly just like the posters and the actual like books as well as the CDs. So I'll still buy one if there's like an album I like, because I like having the CD in my car. I also currently have a vinyl collection going with my girlfriend because we bought a record player last year, and so we've both been like building that. So just like having the albums that we like the most. So that's fun. But over the years, I've also like, with the Pop Funkos, I've also always just enjoyed collecting a little figurine, like a little guy, and it displays something I like. So I have my Pop Funkos, and now I have my Sylvanian families and my Smeeskis and all my Pop Mart blind boxes. I've probably been collecting like Sylvanian families for about 2 years and Smeeskis for about 1.5 years now. And then I also enjoy a Pop Mart blind box, but I'm not super dedicated to one series. Like, I don't want to get the whole of any series. I just, like, if I'm at a place with a Pop Mart, like Sydney, or if I'm in Melbourne or whatever, I will go in and I'll have a peruse and I'll just pick a box or two that I like. My first experience was going to the one in Seoul, and I got like a Garfield one and some Sanrio ones, which I like the Garfield ones. I don't care that much about the Sanrio ones. I wish I got different ones because they're much cheaper in Korea, but I didn't know. But now I really love the Skull Panda and the Pucky and the Peach Riot. Those are my favorite series. Those are my favorite ones. So I have a growing assortment of them. But I love them. I really just enjoy having little things. They bring me a lot of joy. I love decorating my environment with them, and I love showing them off to people. I have like the Sunny Angel bag with all of the like plastic sleeves in it that I carry around. And people go, "Oh my God, that's so cute." I'm like, "Thank you so much." Spent a lot of money on it. Because I love having these little guys with me. I think they're so cute, and I don't think they should just sit on my shelves at home. I think they should experience the world with me and they're a part of me. They're a part of who I am. I also collect keychains with little pictures on them, and I wear a carabiner because I'm a lesbian, with all the different ones on. I'm not wearing one now because I haven't left the house, but it's got my keys on it, as well as like a little Smeesky keychain, and sometimes wear a Sylvanian family keychain, or I've got one of Draculaura, and like I change them out depending on what I'm doing, like if they match my outfit or the activity. But that is my qualifications as a trinket girly. And also me, an autistic girly, talking about one of my interests. So when trinkets started like becoming more mainstream, and like the trinket girl like aesthetic, I guess, was like blowing up on TikTok and like becoming more mainstream, I just thought it was girlies like me who just liked having a little guy. Alas, I was surely mistaken, and it's actually severe overconsumption. Over the last few years, I feel like we've seen a few different trinkets and toys have a bit of a moment. The main ones I think of are like Sunny Angels, as well as like Squishmallows, Jellycats, and Labubu's. I think Smeeskies also had like a bit of a moment, like they are quite popular, but to me, they never felt as crazy as the other ones. Also, I feel like maybe characters like Miffy or like Sanrio characters and Chikawa could also be included in like these craze of like people really searching out for things with these characters, but they just feel a bit different because they're like also characters and not just like a product. That's just my thoughts. I feel like there's some bias in that because I like Smeeskies and Miffys the most. I'm like, no, my thing isn't like those other things. No, my thing's cool. But that's just what I think. But I feel like the hype for so many of them has like died down a lot. Like, obviously people still collect them, but I don't see as many people talking about Sunny Angels or especially Squishmallows anymore. Which, to be fair, the Squishmallows, a lot of people did actively boycott them. I was never a Squishmallow girly. I did not care for them, but there is an active boycott on them because their like parent company is a big supporter of like Israel and like what they're doing in Palestine, and like I think actively gives money. I may be wrong. I looked into it, but I didn't write enough down. I have notes for this video, by the way, guys. I took notes. I have a Notion page. So that's that. But in general, I feel like they've all, at least in this moment, been overtaken by Labubu. Girly, she is everywhere. Like, I feel like we all know how popular Labubu is. It's actually kind of insane. My mom knows what a Labubu was before I even told her. This show called like Gruen, shout out to my Australian girlies who know Gruen, was talking about them, which like crazy. They're just everywhere. Like, my mom hadn't seen one in real life because she lives in a regional Australian town, but yeah, she knows what they are because they're just so popular, and they become like, it's a way of like trinkets becoming a part of trend cycles, which promote like insane consumerism, which I feel like is even only heightened by the blind boxness of it all. Don't mind the sun like creeping up on me. The blind boxness of it all, which like inherently wants you to buy more of them because you need to like, you don't know what you're actually getting. But unlike other things that like exist in trend cycles, like trend cycles, like shirts or dresses or shoes, you only need like one of those things. You only need to buy like one pair of Adidas Sambas. Obviously people will buy multiple, but like generally if you're committing to a trend, you only need one. You only need one strawberry dress. You only need one House of Sunny dress, whatever. Blind boxes, if you're like wanting to actually complete the set, you need generally at least 12 of them, because that's how many are in a Pop Mart one. Maybe 6 of others actually. Labubas have 6 in each set plus 7 as a secret. Same with Smeeskies. I'm autistic about this. I'm sorry. So like you're gonna buy more, which is why I think it's like a more potentially worrying trend than others. I personally have never been one to like want to complete or like buy a whole set. Even when I was collecting K-pop, I was never one of those people who like would buy all like versions of the albums, because like I don't need that. I only need one. Much like the like blind box and stuff, for me it's more about like the process of like attaining them over time, not just like buying them all at once is like cheating. Also like $200 at least, which insane amount of money to drop on those things. Personally, I know it's like very much more attainable and like something other people do, but me, but like because you can buy multiple of them, it's like such a crazier trend, and it means that there's always something that you can just like have a little treat about. Like they're very much into the treat culture. They're very much part of like little treat culture, which especially in our economic state is massive. Just to quickly explain like little treat culture, it's like it's also called like the lipstick theory. It's basically when in times of like it being economically terrible, like we are at the moment, like basically in a recession, when people feel like they're never going to afford these massive purchases like a house, or like there's no point in saving because like it's absolutely impossible to save with the cost of living, you're going to buy more small luxury things, or like just small personal treat items like a blind box, or like in the original example it's like expensive lipstick or whatever, because like what's the point of saving that money and being frugal when it's never going to go to anything actually? I may as well say fuck it and buy a fucking Labubu, you know? And especially there's the extra little treatness and like hit of dopamine of it all with blind boxes because of the surprise of them. It's like gambling. It's dead ass like gambling. Getting into these things has made me realize that I could so be a gambler. Because I love the rush of it all. But the thing with blind boxes, you pretty much always win, because you still always get a thing, unlike real gambling when you can actually just like fully lose money. But yeah, there's like the extra dopamine, like you don't know what you're gonna get. We've all seen the videos of people being like having the box and they're like, this is the one I want, and then like this is the one I want and I don't want this one, and like then they open it and they go, oh my god, I got the one I wanted, or fuck, I didn't get the one I want. Like I dead ass do that when I open them. Like Imogen and I, my girlfriend, whenever we buy them, we'll go and find like the nearest bench or place we can sit, and we'll unbox them immediately, and we go through the back, we go, this one, I don't like this one, I want this one, and then we go to tapping and we open it and we go, oh cute. But so it's like a rush, it's a rush, babes. But if you like really need that one that you really want, you just end up buying so much stuff unless you like get lucky with it in the first few tries. And then like once you get that one, or like what do you do with all the other ones that you didn't want, especially with ones that are like really trending, like the boo-boos, like people who are chasing the secrets and the boo-boos. What do you do with all those other bag charms? Like, do you gift them all to other people? Do you resell them? I know there's a lot of reselling, but even then, even when you've got the ones you want, once this goes out of trend in general, what do you do with them then? Like, the idea of what we do with them brings me into more a topic of consumerism and environmental impact in general. The topic of consumerism and fast fashion has been a mainstream topic for several years now, like even more than that, I would feel. But I think the discourse has seen a lot of different phases. We had like the original very much just environmental, like look at this waste, look at these landfill. And then we've gone more into thinking about like the consumer side of it, like how we change our mentality. And I feel like there's been a lot of shifts and errors of this discourse again, because of the shifts in culture. I feel like I saw a lot of change in it with like post 2020 because of the pandemic. We had things move online, like shopping move online. We had the absolute explosion of like Shein and Temu and people buying like even worse quality things for even cheaper, and the impacts of that, like haul culture on TikTok, the impact of TikTok in general, as well as again the economy and how that like impacts frivolous spending. But I feel like trinkets and like specifically the discourse I've seen around the boo-boo, because again, she's everywhere girl, is kind of different because of the nature of it. Inherently, trinkets are useless. They are little pieces of plastic that sit on my shelves or in my bag, and like that's what they do. They don't serve a purpose like clothes do. Like even if it's fast fashion, we need clothes. The solution for fast fashion is to like replace these fast fashion pieces with more slow fashion, more ethical, and like more mindful clothing consumption. The solution to overconsumption with trinkets is to just like not buy trinkets, because we do not need them. Like we literally don't need them, but I'm not saying that like they aren't helpful or like they aren't good at all. When I say we don't need them, I'm not saying that we shouldn't buy them at all. That'd be so hypocritical of me, because obviously for many people they are a source of joy and they are collecting as a hobby. But like I'm just saying from like a pure facts and logic standpoint, unlike clothes, you don't need a Labubu, you know. But when we think about them as a trend object, we also have to consider the like lifespan or like the life cycle after something is trendy. What is going to happen to all these things? Are we going to see them in a bunch of op shops? Because like again, unlike clothes, they can't be repurposed as much. Obviously the majority of like fast fashion consumptions aren't necessarily then doing DIYs or repurposing their fashion, but it's still an option. But like I don't know, like if suddenly I was like I actually don't want any of my little toys up anymore, I couldn't do anything with them other than put them in a box and put them in my cupboard and not think about them or give them to an op shop. I can't melt down the plastic and do something else. That's just not who I am. And that's going to be the reality for most consumers. But we already have issues with the impact that like hyper consumerism and fast fashion has had on op shops, and the absolute like insane amount of stuff in there that is just not good quality. I think the adding of like trinkets is just a whole other thing, because again, you can't repurpose these and they're going to be labeled as toys or knickknacks, but like I don't think children are going to want these. You can't necessarily really play with them, and I feel like children also tend to gravitate towards things that they know the characters of, like a Bluey toy or like a superhero toy, not like a cunty little skull panda, you know what I mean? Or like even a Labubu, because like I feel like some children would find them scary. And then you think about like older people, like when I say older I mean like young adults who have seen the trend and know that it's not trendy anymore and don't want to participate in it, or like don't want to buy it because it's not cool anymore, and you're going to be seen as like, oh, cringe and chuggy because you have a Labubu. So like what's going to happen to them? They are probably just going to end up in the massive piles of landfill that we had, and I don't love that. Another impact of hyper-consumerism and like not thinking and like just consumerism ruling our lives and our identities, which is something else I'm going to talk about. So I feel like this rise in accessories, like not accessories, trinkets, is, I feel like, and again, I'm not the first person to say this, it's very much indicative of our valuing of products as staples of our identity. Does that make sense? Like we are perceived by the outside through the things we own and the aesthetics we have. Because of the really fast trend cycle we have to constantly keep changing that, or like finding the new one to then buy into, which I think trinkets fit very much into this. And the want to buy these little accessories and trinkets as a way of cultivating our own identity. The accessorization of like objects with like patches and bags and like bag charms has been around for a very long time. It started by hippies as a way of reclaiming negative connotations, and as well as like a practical thing. Patching up clothes was literally a practical thing. Obviously, like, you fix a tear or a rip. So it was originally very much seen with like lower class, like poor people, because they couldn't afford to buy new clothes. They would have to repair them, with the term patch actually being used as like a word for poor person. But then after like the hippies started using it and like reclaiming it, it also then got picked up by the punk movement, which I feel like it's mostly associated with today, where they would have patches not only to fix clothes, but also then ones that like showed their beliefs and the bands they supported, and just like their general resentment for the culture that they were living in and still live in today. There was like definitely a more... First, there was the necessity of patches in that they were something that was literally repairing stuff. But then there was also the like identity that these portrayed, like the more authentic identity. Even when it wasn't for like utilitarian purposes, like literally fixing something, it was stuff that was collected over time, over years, and you would add them to your jacket or your pants, like cross pants and like battle jackets and stuff. They are like living museums, I feel, of a person's life and the things that they've seen and been to and believed. And I really like them. I really think they're cool. I had a denim jacket that I used to put patches and embroider onto and paint onto, and I just don't, because I don't have the time, and it's not something I like. I don't know what I would do it with anymore, but I loved it. I love personalizing my own stuff. Everything I own has like my my headphones, my laptop, my water bottle. It's got so many stickers on it. My phone's got my little Smeeski on it, because again, I love Smeeskis. And they're things that I've collected over the years. Like all the stickers are from like art markets that I've gone to over the last few years, or like tattoo shops. Wow, the lighting has gotten even worse. Hello. I had an intermission, sorry. I meant to come back to it or like figure out a different way to film, but then that was like almost a week ago. It's the next Wednesday, but I'm here to finish this off. Sorry, I can't finish anything in one sitting. Also, I am wearing the same sweater. Alas. But where is that? I was talking about my own charm and like personalization collection. I love bag charms. I collect some of the Pop Mart like blind box ones. I have a Pucky one as well as a Skull Panda one, and very luckily I got the ones that I wanted like first try, so I didn't have to keep going back and being like, no, not the fucking Christmas tree again, you know. But they are also part of the problem, and instead of doing what I, as well as many others, have done in a massive collection over years, from like going out to places that sell things that you'd like to personalize your stuff with, people are now just going on like Amazon or Temu, Shein or whatever, and buying like in bulk these charms that make their bags or like things look more interesting. And I like hesitate to fully condemn these people, because it does come across as very hypocritical, basically by me saying, no, when I do it, it's fine, because I collected these things over like 2 years, whereas you do it in one sitting, when both me and these other people are ultimately guilty of needless consumerism. Like, I ultimately don't need to have these things that make myself or my bags, my stuff look cool, or like look like me, like things that I would like them to look like. But the difference for me, I feel, is that I'm going to continue to love these things for a longer time, because it is not just a reaction to a trend. That is not to say I am free from criticism. I am definitely, my mother, whenever she visits my house, she looks at my cabinet of all my little trinkets and Sylvanian families and stuff and goes, Emily, the plastic, because she is very much a sustainable eco-warrior girly. But what I'm saying with the buying all of these things immediately is that it is not reflective of any experiences. It is reflective of wanting to submit and fit in with a trend and give the appearance of having an eclectic, quirky lifestyle, which I feel is very common in a lot of trends, not just collecting at the moment, like the Jane Birkinifying of bags, where we were making things look worn by like intentionally beating them up when her bag looked like that because she used it every day. And there is something to say about the fact that most of the products we buy these days, you can't actually have them look worn like that. As soon as they get worn, they are unusable, which is like a whole other thing when it comes to like the quality of products and fashion these days. But the point I'm getting at is the desire of consumers to have things that look older and more used than they are, as well as like collections that look more eclectic than they are. I think of like also like the eclectic grandpa aesthetic, where it was like, oh, look at all these quirky pieces I've popped together just like a quirky grandpa would, where said quirky grandpa would have collected that over like many years, whereas you've just gone to whatever store or even just like an op shop and bought a bunch at the same time. It's not authentic to who you are and your personal taste, which I never want to bash someone for just buying into a trend, because like we've all done it, you know. I more so want to encourage people to not do it, you know what I mean? I don't think there's any help in being like, you are bad because you bought this thing. I think it's more helpful to have people think about why they're doing something, because that's been what's helpful for me, at least. My fringe is, I need to get a haircut. My fringe is too long, sorry, but I also need to wash my hair, sorry. But it's so difficult. I understand that. I talked about it in my last video, I think. I can't remember what I talked about ever. I don't even remember. I had to go back and watch the footage for this because I forgot where I left off. But I think the main point of this all is just that, once again, it comes down to intentionality and considering why we're buying something. Why are you purchasing a trinket? Why are you purchasing this bag charm? Is it going to emotionally fulfill you in like a month or so when these things are no longer as cool? Or do you just want them because they are cool now? To conclude, I think the solution to the whole trinket epidemic and crisis that we're seeing is not to shame the people who are buying into it, especially not just like everyday consumers who are like, oh, my little toy gives me a joy. I think the main point of critique is just our general culture of consumerism, which is obviously such a hard thing to tackle. But I think we're getting there. I think in general there's been a lot more awareness from people my age about their consumption habits. I mean, this year has been big on the no buy, low buy, as well as like Project Pan trends, where people look at what they have and go, here's what I can actually do with all I have, and I don't actually need to add anything to my collection. I think trinkets can kind of skirt around that because you're never going to need a trinket. It's more just for joy. I think it's just, we need to think about how much joy every single one is going to get us and why we're actually purchasing it. Is another Labubu really going to fill that hole, or do you just want to spend money? I'm really sorry, this is still rambly and not super coherent. I did write notes, but I didn't fully script it out. I think my next one I want to fully script it out, but I'm still figuring everything out. I hope you enjoyed. The feedback and support on my last 2 videos has been really lovely. I've gotten some very lovely comments, which I should respond to. I just haven't yet because I get nervous about it for some reason. But it really warms my heart seeing these ones where people like comment and like relate to different parts of the video all in one. It like makes me very happy. And I had a lot of fun talking about this. I've been talking about it with a lot of people in my life. So yeah, I hope I've gotten all my points across. And I just want to reiterate, I don't think you're a bad person or bad if you enjoy trinkets. That would be so hypocritical of me. Right here at my desk, I have like 3 different Peach Riot figures. This one is my newest one. It's a Frankie Fairy one. My friend Pidge gave it to me in a trade. It's so cute, but she is meant to sit on a leaf and I cannot for the life of me get her to stick on the leaf. I think I tried some like gel tape. I'm gonna try with some blue tack. But yeah, I am by no means shaming people who enjoy a little trinket every so often. I totally get it. They are just fun to collect. I am also not even shaming, just wanting to raise awareness for the idea of considering why you are purchasing something again. My main thesis is like, are you purchasing something because you really want it, or is it because you think it's cool and it'll make you happy? or you think it'll make you happy, not necessarily that it definitely will. That's yeah, I hope I got that across, because it would be very hypocritical of me if I didn't, like, if I was just like, your trinket purchasing is bad, mine's okay. That'd be so mean. But yeah, if you're a trinket girly, and girly I mean like everyone, if you're a trinket person, let me know in the comments what your favorite ones to collect are. If you're not, that's so fine. You can tell me why you're not a fan of it. I totally get that as well. It's not everyone enjoys these little chunks of plastic. But yeah, I have another video that I'm still trying to make. I'm still figuring out scripting and researching. I finished uni about a week ago, so I'm just like taking a break from like writing everything, because I had to write so many essays at the end of that. And then I'm going to Korea on exchange in like 2 weeks now, which is crazy. So we'll see how we go. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good time. If you're in winter like I am, you're staying warm, or if you're in summer, you're keeping cool. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.